Good afternoon, guys. Hope everybody's doing great today. I'm having a wonderful day. We're making a lot of great progress, a lot of work getting done today. So real happy. We got some new exciting programs with JRA we're about to be announcing soon. One of which is going to take pretty much all risk out of doing AdWords. It's going to be a pay-as-you-go AdWords system. Very limited. We're going to take very limited haulers. There's going to be a lot of specifications on what you have to do to be a partner with us in that. But we'll get to talking about that soon. What I want to talk to you today about is where I came from. A lady out of Arizona sent me an email, and she was saying, you know, we all love your videos. We like seeing where we can potentially go with our junk removal business, but you seem so kind of high up there that we can't hardly relate. So let me go back, and I did one video on this before, but it's, you know, we put out one or two videos every day, so I know it's gotten buried back in the rankings. But let me just go back. I kind of explain me. Again, my name is Lee Godbold. You probably know that. Born in North Carolina. I always have been very entrepreneurial. I've always known that I'd find something to be a success at entrepreneurial. I'd be my own boss and I would be successful, and I always knew that. Tried multiple things from a young age, failed at them for the most part. As far as I did a cleaning service one time. I had a mobile car wash business one time. Did a shredding service, a flyer delivery. We do these, and I just saw in our local area there's actually a franchise. Somebody's doing what we were doing, and they made it successful and turned to a franchise. But we would get these packets and these door hanger flyers, and we'd hire other kids. You know, me and other kids would get together, and we'd put all these flyers in this packet, and we'd go to different doors and actually hang it on people's doors, and we charge the companies for advertising. That was a huge pain in the ass, and we weren't very successful with it. Now, each one of those businesses, I'm sure if I wanted to start one now, I could be successful with it, because I learned from each one of those mistakes. I learned what I was doing wrong, and since we've made junk doctors successful and JRA is on the path to becoming successful, then I've learned what makes a business really go. So I always had those ambitions, knew I'd be successful. I worked at a roller skating rink from age 15 to 22. I maybe was a manager when I stopped there. Actually, I wasn't making enough to be a manager. There's no way. I was making $15,000 a year approximately, close to 20, almost 20, not quite, when I quit. I started Junk Doctors. We called it Triangle Removal Incorporated at the start. It's now Triangle Removal Inc. DBA Junk Doctors, but we run it as Junk Doctors. Started that about 6 months before I quit my roller skating rink job. Very part-time. We don't hardly consider that even the start of the business, because it was we weren't incorporated then. You were incorporated in 2012, and we just don't really consider that being really. Those 6 months we were learning, we were working, and then working part-time. I was working the jobs were part-time. I did that around my full-time schedule at the roller skating rink. And if you listen to a lot of my videos, that's what I encourage a lot of you to do, is maintain another job. And it's so much easier to hustle now. It's so much easier because you got Uber. It's almost easier to have a side hustle now than it was back then. But find you another job, deliver pizzas, do whatever you have to do to get that income up. That's what I certainly did. So we first started out in a pickup truck, just a flat pickup truck. I had a regular long bed Chevy 2500 8-foot bed. Charged, I think, $50 for a pickup truck load at the very start. Wasn't expecting to really do a whole lot with it, but I always kind of thought about it, because again, I'm very entrepreneurial. So got out there. I was racing cars, actually. Let's back up a little bit. So while I was at the roller skating rink, I was racing NASCAR style race cars. Could drive the hell out of the car, but everything kept breaking on it. Some of it my own doing from wrecking, some of it from just operating a race team on a budget. And that's one of the reasons that I try and not operate my business on a constricting budget. We have a budget of sorts. I mean, we know kind of what we need to spend, and not to go out there and be crazy on spending on stuff we don't really need. But at the same time, I focus a lot more on increasing income than I do on reducing expenses. And that's because it almost kind of goes back to my racing days. That's what held back racing was the fact I did not have the money to have a car that would withstand the stress that I was putting under. I'd run it fast and then it would break. So, but from racing, I learned a tremendous amount about sticking with it. We had all those disappointments. I'd always bounce back. We had a, rear end go out. We had engine trouble. Every time I had crashes. Every time I turned around, there was some sort of a setback. Racing, probably about $25,000, $30,000 was lost. Probably about 30 was lost on that. And again, guys, I was making $15,000 a year. Everything, literally, I was living with my parents, but other than food, everything literally was going into that race car. I enjoyed doing it. I was going to be the next Dale Earnhardt or whatever. Would like to probably eventually get back into racing. I don't have the time. I have the money now. I could go out and have a kick-ass car now, but I don't have the time to really put to it. I got some aerobatic ambitions and everything too. Just recently have purchased an aerobatic airplane that I'll start to fly in the next couple of years. But I'd love to get back into racing at some point. But I don't know. At this point, I'm kind of starting to question if I ever will, just because of time reasons. Do I want to focus in on racing because it's going to hurt some of my businesses? And the answer to that is no. I don't. So if I raced, I'd probably be 50 years old before I race. That'd be another 20 years before I ever get back into it. And I'll probably just do it just to say I did it. But anyway. Back onto that. So I was racing cars. Eventually, I just ran out of money. I had to sell the car. So I sold the car. I sold everything but the pickup truck. The pickup truck wouldn't. I listed the pickup truck for sale, but it wouldn't sell. I figured, hell, I got to have a ride anyway. So I might as well just hold on to it. Went out and did about a week's worth of jobs just with the trailer. Just with the pickup truck, $50 each, until we got to this massive yard waste job. It was. The pile, I'm trying to remember now, the pile's probably 6 foot tall, probably 20 foot long. And it'd be a big job now, but it wouldn't be that big. It wouldn't be a big of a deal because we have the equipment to do it. So I borrowed my boss at the roller skating rink. He had a trailer he used to haul ATVs. The thing was 6x12, but it had like 6-inch rails on the side, basically used just to contain the tires and had for tie down points. Guys, I took that trailer. We operated that business for probably 6 months from that trailer. 6-inch walls, did not add extensions. We would stack stuff 5 feet high. Literally and we wouldn't tarp anything. We were more, I'm going to use the word ghetto, just because that's the only thing I can think of right now. We were more ghetto in how we did stuff than y'all could ever dream of being. There's no way. There's almost no way any of y'all have been as ghetto as myself and my business partner were when we started Junk Doctors. We'd have 10 ratchet straps going all different angles to contain the stuff. No tarp. We didn't tarp. We didn't take the time to tarp. We wanted to be the professional, so we had uniforms and we had magnets that we put on the side of the pickup truck. And what we would do is around here, there's these convenience centers, and they're called Citizens Convenience Centers. They're basically, it's a dumpster. There's a bunch of different dumpsters that you put wood or just general MSW furniture into a crusher. There's a place for metal, a place for cardboard, and you take the stuff there and you separate it out and it goes into each individual stuff, but it's not for commercial companies. It's only for residential companies. So we would stop at a gas station or something between the job and the dump, take off the signs, and switch our shirts. We had uniforms, so we'd take our shirts off and we'd switch into some general t-shirts, and then we'd head on the dump. There's multiple sites around, and the guys, the workers there, they get suspicious of what we were doing. They'd always say, we know you're our business, that sort of deal. They couldn't ever prove it. But we got to be where most of those guys got to like us. We'd bring them stuff off the job. We'd bring them lunch every so often, and we'd keep them happy. We did that for probably 10 months, dumping for free. Just had to get started. And over time, we were saving our money up, but we were always saving our money up to invest. past these guys right here. So, because we knew at that point that we could get, this thing had legs. It could definitely go somewhere. We were way cheap. We were charging about $195 to fill up that 6x12 trailer, 5 foot high. So we were super, super cheap. We were a lot cheaper than probably any of y'all are now. Maybe not cheaper than you've been before, but probably any of y'all now. Remember, guys, back then there was no junk removal authority. There was no junk mob. There was no junk MD out there in California. You know, there was nobody giving advice on how to run a junk removal company. You had the franchises that had all the proprietary information, and then you just had to figure it out on your own from there. And that's all there was to it. And there was a huge learning curve. It was always difficult for me to imagine. Remember, guys, I was making $15,000 a year. It was always tough for me to imagine that it was possible that anybody would pay the got junk rates. It was crazy to me. So we were like at a fourth or fifth of the price of got junk. I think at the time got junk's full load rate was like $390, something like that, maybe 400. It's about $515 in this area now, and we were charging $190. We were probably getting almost as much stuff on that little trailer. So maybe we were half what got junk was. But anyway, we knew we wanted to expand. There was one November, the first year we operated, we were very, very, very slow. At the time, we were getting all of our jobs off of Craigslist and just putting out some flyers. We'd take these postcards and we'd learn everybody's trash route. We thought, hey, how cool would it be to advertise a junk removal company on the trash can? So we'd go around and we knew everybody's trash day, and when we weren't doing jobs, we'd tape these postcards to their trash cans. We got some jobs from that, not a tremendous amount, and that's one of the reasons. Every single time we've done a lot of print advertising, it hasn't worked very well. So that's one of the reasons we don't. So we do those advertisements, and we do Craigslist. And I think Craigslist was even more effective back then than it is now. But you still dealt with the same Craigslist customer that just worries the ever living hell out of you, always wanting to negotiate on price, just canceling, rescheduling. It's just the Craigslist customer is hard to deal with. The Google customer is ideal, and we'll get to that in a minute, because when we found Google, we thought we died and gone to heaven when we located Google. So at this point, we had a little bit of a website built up. Nothing too fancy, but we did have a little bit of a website built up. Like I said, we're doing the Craigslist ads, and then we had one November we were super, super slow. I mean, we might have done 7 jobs the entire month. That was before. I can't remember if that was before. I believe that was before we quit. No, it wasn't. I'd already quit my other job at that point, and I'm like, fuck, I'm about to run out of money. We'd saved. We had a bunch of money saved. No, we weren't going to run out. We had money saved so we could get through. But I'm starting, after weeks and weeks of it being slow, I'm starting to say, damn, is this going to be this slow throughout the winter? Am I going to have to go back and get my other job back? I left there on good terms, so I easily could have, but I didn't want to. I'd had that taste of entrepreneurial success. I'd had that taste of independence that we all love. Y'all are out there, those of y'all that's quit your other job and you're working this job, or even if you're still working another job and you got this going on, you know what that feels like. You know what, man, I can go out and I can make money for myself. That's an awesome feeling. I had that taste. I didn't want to go back. I was willing to if I had to, but I didn't want to. So what I did is I got on some, I don't know, it was an internet forum. I found something anyway. I posted, I said I've started a junk removal business. I'm 22 years old. I've got, this is how we've been working it. It's been successful. We're really slow now. I need to find out a way to reach more people. And how do I advertise? And a guy out of Chicago that had owned a successful junk removal business, I can't tell you where or when because he sold it and he signed a non-compete, which he might have been in violation for working with me. But he contacted me and he said, I had a reasonably successful junk removal business. He was out of a pickup truck and trailer, but he had a trailer with 5-foot sides. And He was gracious enough to tell me how kind of he ran his business and tell me, man, you got to raise your prices up. You got to be in line with God John, close to him, and you got to get on Google AdWords. So I set up an AdWords campaign. I think I set the daily limit to like $20 a day to start with, and then raise it to 50, then raise it to 100, then raise it to 3, 4, 500, whatever. First starting out with AdWords, we had a bunch of wasted clicks, but our cost per click, we were getting top ranking, and we were like $3.20 cost per click. Comparison now, you're like, depending on your market, you're going to average somewhere around 11. Some markets less, some markets will be 9, some markets will be 14. But to be top of page ranking, you're going to be at $11, $12 a click now, generally. So you can get in a lot of trouble now on wasted ad spend. Back then you couldn't. We wasted a bunch of spend, but it was cheap enough that it still allowed us to be profitable in jobs. Now, as that campaign progressed, it actually got to the point where we were losing money on every Google job, and that's when we hired somebody to come in and help us figure out our campaign. It's now the same campaign that we make available to everybody. And again, we're going to elaborate more on that because we have an exciting thing with AdWords. But let's get back to it. He got in, he got me on AdWords, got us on AdWords. Just got super successful at that point. We were hoarding cash. We were keeping cash like crazy. It was all cash at that point. So we had this huge, $20,000 we built up off of that. And what we did is got looking for dump trucks. We got to get a dump truck. We'd gone and bought a $1,500 trailer with 3-foot sides on it. It was great, wooden sides, still 6x12, 3-foot sides. We thought if we thought again, we'd gone to heaven. We'd gone to heaven twice. We found AdWords, went to heaven. We got this trailer, went to heaven. And we got the money for the dump truck. I think it might have been $20,000 we had. It might have been 15 or 16. This was still a little bit of during the recession. So it was in 2013, July 29th, 2013 is when we bought that old number 1 truck, still running strong. The truck's probably made us $750,000 at this point, I would guess. Spent $11,500 on it. Now, you're not going to find an $11,500 truck now. You know, $25,000 is about what you're looking at for these dump trucks. But you got to get to one just as soon as you can. One of the key things to my success is I've never been selfish as far as taking money out of the business. It's always gone right back into it in investments. Always expanding, always hiring, always getting new equipment, always doing new advertising, doing whatever I can to grow the business with the thought that eventually it's going to pay off with long-term success. So at that point when we got that dump truck, we thought we were going to run 2 trucks, but we were doing so much faster with that dump truck that we just ran that 1 truck until we bought a second truck. And then we've just kind of grown from there. A lot of mistakes along the way. But, after 5 years, we did $2 million in our 5th year of operation. And that's a lot of what I talk about now, because I want you to know it's possible to achieve that level of success. Everybody is asking too little out of themselves, too little out of their dreams. They're not expecting what's possible. They're not striving. They're not asking for massive level of success in their junk removal business, and that's going to hold you back, guys. 10 trucks now, $2 million a year in revenue. We'll probably do about 2.6, 2.5 this year is what we'll do, 6 year of operation. JRA, already we got a guy in Denver, going to be opening up an operation in Denver. We're talking with people, one guy in Alaska, talking with somebody in I think it's in central New York, somewhere in there, about business packages. Now working with a company in California on AdWords. Just super happy to be able to help everybody. One of the main things I want to do, though, is I want you to start thinking more of yourself, to start asking more of yourself, to raise your think, to eliminate the word expensive from your vocabulary. That's something I just recently learned within the last year. Our business has blown up, both JRA and junk doctors, since I eliminated the word expensive from my category. I looked at stuff as investment in value and return. I'd go out and I'd hire somebody. We hired a marketing director before JRA could pay for it. JRA is going to be able to pay for it now. I'd always make those investments I take that a little bit of a risk. I take a little bit of a risk for it to pay off, knowing that if something failed, that if it didn't pay off, I'm going to survive. I'm going to make it back. Those of y'all that just think, you look at these videos and you think, that's not possible. This guy's lost touch. Listen, I've been there. I've done that. I've been more ghetto than any of y'all have ever been as far as carrying out jobs. And I just always was determined to make it happen. I still have that same level of determination now, but it's focused on changing the entire junk removal industry. I want to take on the franchises. I want everybody we work with, everybody that watches these videos, I want to start hurting the franchises. I want they laugh at haulers now. Franchises now laugh at the pickup truck guys. They do. I want just the entire market to be where the individual haulers are hurting the got junk business, hurting the junk luggers business. And I want to show people how to do that. We've done that in our market. We're number one in our market. And I want to teach everybody else how to do that. I've been where you are. See where I'm at now. I'm willing to help you get to this point. Watch my videos. Do what you can as soon as you can afford us. Before you can afford us. Before you can afford consulting calls with me. Before you can afford AdWords management with us. Go out and hire us. And we're going to get you to that point. We're going to do everything it takes to make you successful. I hope all of y'all understand now where I've been, where this company's been, where we've come from. I know you know where we're at now, and I hope that you're able to watch these videos and relate to it a bit more, because you've seen that I didn't come. Nothing was given to me other than being able to be around people with wealth and having some great people that gave me some great advice along the way. No money was given to me at all, and you know, I just made it work and made it happen. And I want to be here now to offer advice, great advice for the junk removal industry. And nobody on this YouTube, it's a fact, nobody on YouTube has been as successful in junk removal as Junk Doctors and myself has. We're here to help you with Junk Removal Authority. All it is a phone call away, 919-466-9322. Like and subscribe to the video. If you don't like it, dislike it. I like dislikes, not as much as I like likes, but I like dislikes. You know, you're not, until you get some haters out there, you're not really putting your point across. You're not taking a stand until you got some haters. So everybody, I love each and every one of you, love all my viewers, and we'll talk to everybody real soon. Thanks, guys.